JV Cycles with another weekend video. So a lot to look at, so I have to be quick today. We have a signal for the daily wavelets that a 10-week oscillation started at the first low in this correction, and using bull market rules, that was around where the low should be. So that means we have started a new 10-week oscillation, and we still can't see the low. Looking at the VIX, it tells the same story. It has generated a new 10-week oscillation. Inverting it, it says this was a 10-week oscillation low, then it was a very short uptrend, and now we are looking for the low. And what to look for? Well, if we remove the normal, and here I have an analog from 2022, which is interesting. It is this one. Also a very short 10-week cycle uptrend, and then we made a low. And it was a triangle low, so the final low was a higher low. So I am expecting something similar. We are currently in a bounce A move. We are going down with a B and then up again with a C, and then completing it with a low here. And that means this was 10-week oscillation, and we have the 17-week cycle, and we need another 10-week oscillation to complete it, and it will probably look something like this. After that we should have a bigger bounce, maybe something, it could be a higher low, maybe we don't go all the way down, and it could be a big bounce into the summer, and then this is the thing we have to focus on to look for. But first, I have from historical analogs, this part of this downtrend normally should last into mid-May. So I'm expecting some kind of a bounce here, and then going down, making a bigger bottom formation. And we have analogs, lots of analogs here that they crashed down, and they had to test those lows a couple of weeks later. And yeah, as you see, 2011 crashed down, had a bounce several weeks, but then fell down to test the lows. And the thing about those is that, that was it. In 2011, the bear market was over. But I will come back to that. So, well, I'm not going to say much more about the short term. Well, I'm expecting this to be an ABC correction, and normally it would look like that. But I think this could be, a panic, A move down, and then maybe a double low, or perhaps the triangle version. We have an overreaction in the first move down, and then we complete it with a higher low. And you see this 10-week oscillation here, it was actually only 8 weeks. And this next one, it could be 8 weeks. I'm looking more maybe for a 10-week oscillation low, with completing around mid-May. But I want to zoom out a little bit and look at what to expect for the rest of this year and next year, because here's the 3.5-year cycle, and the red bearish part is going into April, May next year, and a bear market could potentially even be longer than that. But I would not trust any lows before we get to around April next year. And you can look at a lot of cycles, and you know, like this. It's a cycles composite, and it told me here look for an ABC, and actually here you see the C was a higher low, and then we rallied. And similar here, well, anyway, you see the cycle condition here now is bearish into October this year, bouncing up to March, and then going down to October next year. I could also look at other cycles composites. You know, it is kind of suggesting the same thing. Look for a low this fall, then we have to see what kind of bounce we get, and the next low is in 2026. That could be a lower low or a higher low, a double low, I don't know. If we look at this previous one, we see the final low in this kind of was a higher low. Here we ended it with a COVID crash. This one, you know, it was only this first part was bearish, and the next was a higher low. Here at this one, I have to shift this. You know, this is not the 3.5 year cycle. This is actually, this creates a 3 and a third year bigger cycle. That's an interesting thing. Anyway, we have the first move down. The B bounce is bullish, breaking up to new all-time highs, and then the final C is a higher low. But all this is not very helpful. You know, I think we should rather look at the anatomy of a bear market, because bear market patterns kind of repeat, and that is because we have cycles, and the market are reacting to the same cycles and giving us similar outcomes. The normal pattern is you get this first move down to the support, which is the lowest low the past 12 months before the top. We try to bounce off it, but if we drop down and the support cannot hold the second time, we crash below, and we get the washout, the capitulation. And sometimes we struggle a lot here trying to cling on to this support and regain it, but then finally we give in. So similar here in the 1974, the big bounce, but then breaking it, clinging onto it, and then finally capitulating. And you know, we have 2008, the big bounce, but it's failing, breaking below, clinging onto it, but then capitulating. 2001 here, a bit similar. The first dropping down, then the big bounce, it's failing, we drop below. But this one was different because here it really tried to the bulls tried here, and you know, they managed to break above this support, but it failed, and then they capitulated. And the previous bull market, dropping down, the big bounce, and actually, well, broke a little bit below it, but that was more like a bear trap, so the support actually held, and it was all over, no problem. Then, you know, often if we get this crash, we drop down, and then when the market gets oversold, all the problems in the world are solved, the greed comes back, and we rally all the way back up, and then the bears, no point in trying more. Similar here, 2015 dropping down, but then rallying all the way back. Actually, it was ABC range bound. 2011 looked bearish, the big bounce looked like it was failing, but then no, we managed to get all the way back up, and then no point for bears to fight back here. So where we are now, well, I think this first part has somewhat compressed maybe. And you know, the big bounce is coming now in the summer. The big question is, will it you know, go all the way back up? Will the bears give up, or will we get a nice shoulder and then, you know, generating all this stuff? And I have an analog for Norway, but I don't have time in my 10 minutes to talk about it, so I'll take it later.